connection, family tales and where you're going, truths you need without the sugar coating. On the mic, yeah, they won't falter, advice they give like a sacred altar, stories real, you can't ignore them, light and dark, they always explore them.
What's going on, everybody? Here we are again. More emails, more podcasts, more stuff happening. Got some things happening in the family. Elizabeth is back home. She's been gone out of town for about 7 weeks, and she's finally back. So it's nice to see her. Ethan is gone. So Ethan's actually staying with our son-in-law because our daughter's gone for a little weekend getaway, which is nice for her. But yeah, overall, a lot of things happening, a lot of things good. But yes, new updates for us. We're still moving in August. Actually, we have an official moving date. We are out 100% out of Utah on August 15th. So there's that. So we are moving. Hopefully be able to move into the house. I'm not sure quite yet. May have to rent a short-term place until we can get into our house. I'm trying to get all that locked in, made an offer on a piece of property. Hopefully that'll work. Hopefully they'll take the offer. If the offer's good, then we are landowners and then we can start building the house. Yeah, a lot of stuff happening. It's crazy, but you know, it's good. Shannon's actually upstairs making more cookies because we have nationals coming up, and she's like, you know what? Let's get a little extra cash. Let's put this towards some rugby stuff, and let's keep things rolling. So that's what she's doing. A lot of stuff being said, but I got some emails. Got about 6 of them for us tonight, or today, whatever you want to call it. It is 6:00 at night, so there we go. It's in the evening. Let's jump into these things. Got some good ones. There's someone in here that I just kind of scratch my head on, because really, people, really. Anyway, well, let's get going. Number 1. Hey, Devin. My partner and I have a solid relationship. We get along, communicate well, and generally care for each other. But here's the truth. I'm not physically attracted to them anymore. It's not about weight or about appearance. It's just the spark is gone. I feel guilty even thinking about it, but I can't ignore it either. Can relationships survive long-term when attraction fades? Or is physical connection too important to ignore forever? Sincerely, Kyle in Sacramento. Kyle, here's the deal, okay? You have to be attracted to the person that you are married to. That has to be done. You have to be attracted to the person. You have to like the person. You have to like everything about them. That's not the key thing that keeps you married. You know, other things evolve. So when you first get married, when you first start dating, you have to, immediately, at least for men, I can't speak for women, at least I can speak for men. You have to be physically attracted to the person. You have to think, wow, they are beautiful. I love them. I love the way they look. I love how they look. I love everything there is about that. That's the start for most men, right? Now, a man can get attracted to personality and intelligence, but usually it takes physical attraction first. Now, that being said, in a long-term relationship, age and physical looks can fade. I am no longer 175 pounds. Does my wife think I'm attractive? I sure hope she does. She's the only one that can tell that thing. But we tell about that. But we've been married for 24 years, and we're doing pretty good. She's still beautiful as ever, and that is important. But on the other side, I can honestly say I'm attracted to who she is too. It's not just about the looks. Looks are important. In your case, I'm going to call BS on you right now, okay? Because you say that it's not about weight or appearance. So something has changed in your relationship, whether you've gained weight or she's gained weight. I'm guessing that it's her. And if that's the case, you guys should just get healthy together. Simple as that. Because honestly, you say that spark is gone, but this is about physical attraction for you. That's the bottom line. This has nothing to do with the other stuff. If you started off physically attracted to your spouse, you get if it was just solely, if your relationship was solely on the fact that they were good looking, and now you're saying that they're a little overweight, you got to fix yourself first, okay? So I suggest you do your thing. You make sure that you're doing what it takes to make your life good, so you're beautiful for her. And you know what? Compliment her. Seriously. Compliment her on something, because you know what? If you're noticing something, then she's noticing something. Because women aren't stupid. Women can see right through us, and they can see that there's something going on. Compliment her on something. Find something to compliment her on, okay? And watch how that changes. Watch how that affects her in a good, positive way. And then find something else to compliment her on. It will help you. Then build up the strength and the gumption, if you will, to ask her on a date to go on a walk. You know, both you guys probably need the physical health, to be honest. It's not just about, you about looking better. I mean, sure, you want to go to the gym so you can look better naked. Absolutely is the good answer. But you need to get her involved as well. Honestly, I'm telling you, if you do more things together, your life will get better. So I get it. You're saying that's not about the appearance, but it really is. You just don't want to sound like a jackass and say it is about the appearance, because it does matter to you. It does. So because that matters to you, honestly, you should talk to her about it. And you can be nice about it, and you can and just say, hey, here's what I'm feeling. And if she loves you and you guys been married for a while, she'll take it in a good way, but you have to say it the right way, because as a guy, when you bring up anything like overweight or things that you're not looking the same, or you got some more wrinkles, that messes things up, and it does not do quite well. So that being said, Kyle, you got this. You can do better. Make it happen. Anyway, there you go. One real quick relationship one. Let's go to another one. This one's about finance. I like this one. This one says, hey, Devin, I've been working nonstop, side gigs, overtime, even freelance on weekends, all in the name of the grind. And yet I'm still paycheck to paycheck. I used to believe hustling was the path to freedom, but now it just feels like I'm spinning my wheels while everyone else profits off of my exhaustion. Is hustle culture just modern day burnout with better branding? Thanks, Logan in Dallas. So, here's the thing. When it comes to the hustle, we all got to hustle. Nowadays, it seems like you have to have 2 to 3 jobs no matter what, like you're doing right now, like you're talking about. You have to have 2 to 3 jobs just to survive. And it's crazy. We've been told the biggest lie in the world, and the biggest lie in the world is you go to college, you get a good job, you work your job for 20 years, 30 years, then you retire. Then when you retire, you'll be able to do things, you'll be able to afford your house, blah, 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 blah. That's the biggest lie in the world. What you need to do is work, stash money, find things that you can do cheaper, because it's all about the expense. Literally, your entire income and your living is 100% dictated upon what you're spending. We're trying to get out of that hamster wheel. The biggest lie is we're in this big giant hamster wheel where we need things, we do things, and we want to just continue to get those things because those things will make us happy. You know, it's real true happiness? Not having to worry about anything. Who cares about that crap? That's over. That's done with. That's ended. We don't need that anymore. I tell my wife, no one deserves our money more than we do. I'm tired of writing checks to pay utility bills. I'm tired of writing checks to pay, things that don't matter anymore or ever, really. It's time to build a house, get off the grid. I'm telling you right now, if you can find a piece of property and you can pay next to nothing for it, fairly cheap, inexpensive, whatever. You can find land across the entire country. You just have to look for it. That's like less than $7,000, maybe an acre or quarter acre or whatever. Could be more than that. Purchase the dang land, put you a place on it, make it off grid, seriously, and you'll eliminate some of the biggest bills you've ever had. Build you a house. I mean, seriously, this is the real goal. This is true living here, where all you have to do is pay taxes at the end of the year. And honestly, from my understanding, there's a way to get out of that too, but it takes a little bit of work. But that being said, you just got to stop doing what you're doing. You're spinning your wheels, and sadly, what it comes down to is look at the stuff that you are going after in your life, man. You're chasing someone else's dream. And that's usually a billionaire's dream. And not the billionaires are bad, because they've made it. They've done their job. They have figured out how to benefit from the work and the resources of others. You got to do the same thing. And it probably won't take much to live. People think, well, when I'm rich, what being rich really is owing nobody and being able to go outside and say, I don't got to do anything today. And you walk over to your garden and say, what are we going to have for dinner tonight? Hey, how about some carrots? Oh, let's have a good salad with this head of lettuce and the carrots and stuff. And you're like, oh, the chickens have laid some eggs. Oh, that chicken stopped laying, so now you're going to become dinner. That's true freedom. If you owned your house and your land and you have those things, you're good. That's actually being rich. That's true freedom. So, yeah. Hey, Devin, my older sibling helped me out financially when I was younger. Paid a few bills, co-signed a loan, stuff like that. I'm grateful, but now it feels like they use it as leverage for everything. They constantly remind me what they did and expect loyalty, obedience, and favors that put me in a bad spot. At what point does helping turn into control, and how do I get my independence back without starting a family war? Mason in Salt Lake City. Mason, here's the deal. Business and family typically never work. If you needed to borrow some money and you borrowed some money, if you paid back that money, that's the end of the contract. If the money was a loan, and then they said, I need this much money back. So if I loaned you $50, whatever it is, let's just call it $50. It probably was more than that, most likely. So say you borrowed $50, and then then you said at the end, when I can have the money, I'm going to pay you back $60. Once you've paid back that $60, you owe nothing else ever. What you have is someone who's trying to control you, trying to tell you how to live your life, and that's none of their business. Now, if you're ever in a spot and you need to borrow money again, they'll probably not loan you the money ever again. But you have to be independent. You have to be able to set yourself up so you can live how you should live in the future. Okay? 2, I said it before and I'll say it again. I don't loan money out. If I was to loan money out, I don't loan it. I give it with no expectation of it coming back. I know Shannon and I, we've actually helped some of our some of our siblings in the past, and to the tune of food and cash, and we just dropped it off at their front door when they needed it. We never told them we did it. If they listen to this, they'll know I did it now. But it's been years and years. Who cares? But they know they never knew we did it, and I never expected anything in return. It was because they needed help and we helped them. That's the way we should be. That's the way that people should be doing their business, especially with family. But it seems like a lot of times family takes it to the next extreme, where it's almost like they're a bad loan shark. So you're trying not to make waves, but at some point you have to stick up for yourself. If you've paid back the debt, then you owe them nothing. If you haven't paid back the debt, they own you. If there was no expectation at the end, they still own you. If you owe them nothing, then they can just be quiet. Honestly, they should be quiet. It's none of their business. It's done. That's the reality when it comes to that. It's pretty simple. Gotta love family though, right? And here in Utah, I will tell you. So and here's the other thing. In Utah, it sounds different, sounds weird. It is a giant bubble. People here live in a bubble, and they do their things their own way. And when they do their thing their own way, they do it in a way that's actually going to just benefit them more than it benefits the other person. I can tell you, the people that have screwed me out of the most money in my life are in this state. True story, true fact. It is the reality. I have learned my lesson. I can tell you that. You can't do business in Utah with people with a handshake. That does not work. Because where I'm from, if you shake someone's hand and you agree to something, that is more binding than anything else. Here, it's not so much. Sadly, I'll say sadly, it is not so much. So, anyway, let's go to another one. Let's see. Hey, Devin. Every time I open my phone, there's something new to be outraged about. Politics, war, protests, tragedies, arguments. I care deeply, but I'm tired. Soul tired. But when I try to step back and take a break, I feel guilty, like not speaking up makes me part of the problem. Am I allowed to be exhausted by the world without being labeled heartless or apathetic? Mentally drained, Renee in Portland. Renee, here's the thing. There's so much crap going on. And honestly, you don't have to be involved in it. It is okay to put the phone down. I mean, I read a thing today that said there's this woman that's trying to push reparations in our country to the tune of like $14 trillion for black people. What? That makes no sense. And I can tell you it makes no sense because at this point, we all have, as I'm a ginger, so I'll say this. Technically, I've been adopted into the black community according to TikTok these days. But the reality is this. You don't need the money. If you need the money, go get a freaking job. No tax dollar should go to any reparations, ever. Unless you were an actual slave, you get nothing. If you say I'm a descendant of one, well, you're a descendant of one. How many years ago was that? It is past. It is done. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you doing your part to help contribute to society. And honestly, I'll tell you, if you're worried about money, like this article that I read, it's like about the whole $14 trillion. She said this would bring the level out the income along the classes at that point. Incorrect. Because if you can't manage money, it will never correct the issue. What'll correct the issue is you watch what you spend and you watch what you earn. Simple as that. There's obviously some more details to it, but I'm trying to make it simple. But to go back to your issue, Renee, unplug, turn it off. Don't feel guilty. You don't have to fight every fight out there. You don't have to be part of every fight out there. You need to be in the know. You need to know things, but you don't have to be part of any cause. You don't have to jump in and make your voice heard on some things. Now, when it comes to politics locally and federally, sure. When it comes time to voting for good people, or if you wanted to run for office, then yes, then it matters. But for the most part, care about yourself. Care about your family. That's what matters in the end. Seriously. You got to do it that way. I mean, we take a lot of these things way too serious. And some people take it way, way too serious to the point where they want to hurt people. Makes no sense to me. Do the right thing. Say the right thing. Let's take care of ourselves. Let's take care of our families. Let's take care of people. That's the bottom line. Okay. Two more. Which ones? Hey, Devin. I'm married. and I've never crossed any physical lines. Here we go. But there's someone I've been texting a lot lately. We talked about things I don't bring up to my spouse. I look forward to those messages more than I should. I keep telling myself it's innocent, but it doesn't feel that way anymore. Is emotionally cheating real? If so, have I already gone too far? Avery in New Orleans. Avery, you're cheating. You're calling it emotionally cheating. I'm calling it cheating. You may have not done anything physical, but you're not talking to your spouse about these things. If you can't talk to your spouse about something, there lies the entire problem. I talk to my wife about everything, even if I know it's going to hurt her feelings, and she says she does the same thing back to me. Because you married that person for a reason. That person has been in your life for however long it is for a reason. And the fact that you're cutting them out and you're ignoring them on some of these things that you want to talk about, you're the problem. You are a cheater. I call that cheating. Plain and simple. I tell my wife everything. And you should tell your spouse everything. Literally everything. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got into your relationship for a reason. That person meant something to you for a reason. And now you're throwing all that away because you look forward to a text message from someone that was a stranger at one time and now they're not, and they're becoming more familiar. At what point do you stop? At what point do you realize that you're hitting some of it right now? It seems like it says you're conflicted. The conflicted part is you are a cheater. You're a horrible person. You're a horrible person right now, and you can do better. The reality is, fix it. Your significant other, your spouse, deserves better. Not sure what happened in your relationship where you've gone down that deep end, where you've gone down and you just don't want to have that part of you anymore. Maybe you had an argument, and so this person sent you a message. Forget the other person. Block the person. Stop responding. That is literally evil incarnate and trying to suck you into something that you should not be doing. You have a spouse. Why are you going to ruin it? Say you've only been married a year. It's still cheating. 6 months. It's still cheating. 1 day. It's cheating. I had a friend of mine. He got married. On the way to the honeymoon, his wife, newly married wife, disappears. She went and cheated. Literally, the day they got married. He obviously got it annulled and canceled and all this stuff, and marriage is over, as he should have. But she still cheated. Whether it's physical, verbal, emotional, it's still cheating. You should be able to talk to your spouse about anything. Literally anything. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to your spouse about some things, then you got to figure out why. What happened? What's going wrong? Anything can be fixed unless it's abuse. That's a different story. If your spouse is abusing you, then you should get out. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not a proponent of divorce, but if you're getting physically beat or hurt, or even beat down verbally, and it's consistent. Some people say things that are being rash or just being upset. That's fine. You can overlook that because that person is hurting, and you should be there because they're your spouse to fix that problem, to help them fix that problem. You can't fix the problem; they have to fix the problem on their own. But you should be there to help them fix that problem. But if you can't talk to your spouse for whatever reason, because they snapped at you one time, that can be fixed. But the fact that you're reaching out and you're looking forward to messages on a daily from another person, you're cheating. Yeah. And I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. I'm just telling you the facts. So fix your problem. Do what's right. And I promise you, it ain't going to be easy, but you should beg your spouse for forgiveness. The person that you're with is the person you're with. You loved them for a reason. You hooked up with them for a reason. You got married for a reason. All those things you did for a reason. Find that reason again. Hey, Devin. At home, my spouse and I are mostly on the same page when it comes to parenting structure. Clear boundaries, consistent consequences. But the second we're around friends, family, or even just out in public, it's like I'm parenting with a total different person. They suddenly become the fun parent. Rules go out the window, consequences are softened, and I'm left feeling like the strict one or the buzzkill, just for sticking to what we agreed on. It's frustrating and confusing, not just for me, but for our kids too. I'm tired of bringing it up gently, but it always turns into you're overthinking, or it's not that big of a deal. But it is a big deal when it sends mixed messages to our kids and undermines the trust we've built as a team. Why do people feel the need to perform perfect parenting in public? And how do I talk to my spouse about it without sounding like an attack on them? Thanks, Jessica in Milwaukee. Jessica, here's the thing when it comes to raising kids. It is one of the hardest, most rewarding things and terrifying and emotionally draining things a person can ever do. You're doing it and you're doing the hard job. Okay. Now, as far as the fun parent, for the longest time, I was the disciplinarian in our family. And I hated being that person all the time. And it did send mixed messages to our kids. And you don't want to do that. But overall, my wife and I, we have been on the same page for the most part. But you need consistency. Whatever your parenting style is, both you and your spouse need to be on the same page with it, and y'all both need to be working towards it. And if it's not going to happen, then you're screwed. Okay? Either you got to change or they got to change. And you all, or maybe both change and pivot a little bit and come to the middle. But you got to talk to your spouse about it. Simple as that. Because raising good children is difficult. Raising children in in one family, two different ways is hard. So you got to talk to your spouse. And how you do it, like it's an attack on them, say, hey, here's what's going on. Here's how I feel. Tell them the reality is so everything we do in life, whether it's watching TV funnels and advertisements funnel into it perfectly. It's all about emotion. And emotion, sometimes you have to put the emotions to the side. But to relate to people, that's why you find videos and TV shows hone in on emotion, right? So tell your spouse how you feel, which is the emotion, and then get to the nuts and bolts of it and say, here, we need a game plan, which is the rules. So you get past the emotion because you feel beat down and you don't want to be the bad guy the whole time. So there has to be a happy medium here. You got to find common ground. You got to find a spot where the fun parents can be there, but also the strict parents can be there when they need to be. Because you don't want to raise any assholes. Seriously. And you know what? Sometimes that can turn out to be inevitable, because once your kids start learning, once they get past a certain age, and it's different for every kid, then they start making all those decisions on their own. And there's nothing that a parent can do that can change that. because those kids have got it in their heads that their life is going to be the way they want it to be. And once that's done, that's done. But those decisions are not on you. They have made their choice. When your children become less children and more older teenagers, that ship has sailed in many cases. And then when they become young adults, it is 100% shit sailed. You are their parent, but they're adults. You're always going to be their parent, but they're going to be the adult. They have to be an adult. And sometimes adult children are harder to deal with than little kid children, because they don't, especially when they don't know how to determine the issue is them, because they always want to blame you. So if you raise them right, hopefully you won't have that struggle as when they become adult children. But if you do, you'll have to get across that road and you'll have to deal with it. But if both of you guys have talked about this, and the thing is, just talking about it once doesn't solve the problem. Sometimes you have to pivot as a parent and change your style. What works on one kid does not work on another kid. Seriously. Each one of our kids they're all totally different. They all have different personalities. They all have different things that they like. And when it comes to parenting them, we have to do it differently because they all have certain things that they can deal with. I could smack the hand of one of our kids and it would ruin their entire day. I could beat the snot out of one of our kids. Never done that, that's joking. And it wouldn't do a dang thing. But taking things away, the FOMO, the fear of missing out, that destroys that kid. It's crazy. So you got to raise those kids right, but you have to talk with your spouse directly, and you have to let them know how you feel. So you got to tell them. You got to tell them how you feel. And say, and you can go to them and say, hey, I want to talk to you about raising how something that I feel strong about, and I'm bothered, and it tears me up inside. Tell them all the emotion that you have about it, and say, there's got to be a good way to do this, but this is what I'm seeing, or this is how it feels like to me. You may not mean it that way, but that's the way it's going. That's what you got to do. Anyway. As always, thank you guys for the emails. Thanks for trusting me to talk to you about your own problems. I appreciate it. Good things coming. Go check out the vlog. It drops every Friday, like this podcast does, so you can go check that out. It's always a good deal. You'll be able to see what we're doing and our plans when we come to building the house and making the house better and big and beautiful and all that stuff. I'm telling you, it's going to be epic. So go check out the vlog. Go follow us on there. Follow all our social medias, and go check out Lacaddy hats. These guys make a beautiful hat. I'm kind of been sporting it the past few weeks. I love it. Don't sweat in it. Go check out Lacaddy. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys later. We'll see ya.
Tune in now and you will see life's a mess, but side by side we're free.